For my Scratch project, I chose to create my own version of an Alien Invader game. And currently it has 3 stages. And it's basically pretty simple. For each stage, you clear the enemies. And when you clear all the enemies from the stage, it moves on to the next level. Um, for the coding for the stages, what I chose to do was, because there wasn't a specific way I could code it so that when all enemies are destroyed, it would automatically move to the next stage. What I chose to do instead was have the stage progression go by score. Each enemy is worth 10 points, so for stage 1, when the score equals 30 points, it broadcasts stage 2 and it hides the script for the enemies from stage 1 and it shows the new ones. And when the score reaches 80, it moves on to the next stage, which will be the final stage, stage 3. And for stage 3, this is my final stage, and it still needs some work, whereas the firing of the enemies is still glitching a little bit. But if I had more time, it's something I'd want to work on because I wanted their firing to be a little bit different so I could make the game a little bit harder. And one of the interesting things about the game I like so far is the force field. And this is a code I actually borrowed from another player, and I borrowed it from his game, Alien Invader 1.0. And after borrowing it, I set it to my character, the hero, and I changed the coding of it using Ghost Effect so that instead of it being completely solid, it became see-through, so you could still see the character in between it as you move. And I found it to be easier since the movement for all my enemies were the same, instead of coding new enemies over and over again, I instead copied the coding for my first batch of enemies and instead gave them new costumes. So each enemy started off as a ghoul, but then as the game continued and I started to create my stages, I made them a second costume. Therefore, it would give the players just a little bit of difference. And one of the fun things I added to the game that I like is if you lose, you get an interesting surprise, which is the game over screen, which I added by creating a second background. And I wanted to add a little something just to scare people. If I had more time while fixing stage 3, I'd also like to go back and make a stage 4 where instead of having the enemy or having a stage 4 where you fight a boss, but instead of having the boss die with one hit, I want to create a health bar for him. So every time you hit him, it goes down 10, and eventually it keeps going and going until it eventually hits 0 when you finally win. And if I had more time, I'd like to include that kind of boss battle just to give the game a little bit more intrigue.
I'm sorry, he's out sick today. He'll be seeing Dr. Tyberg. I like Dr. Copeland. Don't worry, Dr. Tyberg's very nice. Where's Miss Laura?
I mean, what does do?
Standing at her desk. That Miss Laura. She's out sick too. There's a lot of people around. Now, come on, Doctor's got a busy day.
Come on. It'll be over before you know it. Hey! I'm Dr. Tyberg.
Can't I wait for my doctor?
Unfortunately, your doctor was called away on emergency. And nurse said he had the flu. That was the emergency. He came down with flu very quickly. So, the sooner we start, the sooner we finish. I'm sorry. Doctor, patient's privacy in the room, but you can wait in the reception area or glass of water.
Damn, yes, he didn't die.
Hey, trust me.
That's a beast in these games, boy.
And wait, it's full.
So I gotta do. Play again?
Yeah, this time to yourself.
Why?
Yeah.
Hello? Frank, I'm here. Yeah, we had fantastic service.
Oh, now you hit.
From now on,
Silly.
it's the only way of life, Frank. Takeaways or nothing.
Glad you made it.
Hello?
That's a first.
Back Monday.
I don't know if you bought this picture. This looks so familiar for some reason. This is from
Walking Dead.
yeah. So why you put it on?
I heard the fish down here is
What's the
fantastic.
thing?
I could make us a bouillabaisse.
This game was pretty good. The only thing is, no, you have a little lag in
You know, maybe it's better.
when it comes to you getting hit or being attacked or doing attacking, I guess.
I'm sure it is.
Uh,
A week won't make a difference.
that's about it, really. I don't know. It's pretty good for a creative game, you know. Yeah.